Hello everyone, Andrew here, and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about the Super 190-in-1 unlicensed multi-cart that I recently looked at in my multi-cart collection video. I think it's worth taking a look at the actual gameplay of this game. We're not going to find 190 different games on here, but I think it's interesting nonetheless, so let's check it out. So after turning it on, you're just presented with this intro here of the word super rising up from the ashes, and there's nothing that you can press to skip this. So obviously whoever made it was super proud of what they had accomplished. And then we get the choice of going to page A, which has games 1 to 100, or page B, which has 101 to 190. We're definitely going to be looking at both, but we're going to be starting with page A. And then once again, it is broken down into a whole bunch of different sections, and honestly, as far as unlicensed multi-carts go on the NES, I do not think that this one is too bad. If you can get it for $20 to like $40, I'd probably say is the maximum, you will find about 30 unreleased NES games here, or rather not necessarily unreleased, but Famicom games that were not brought over to the West and released on the NES, which is pretty cool if you're one who, you know, likes obscure games. It's nothing amazing. You're not going to find like the Japanese version of Castlevania 3 with the better music on here or anything. They're all very old and not very detailed games, but you can still have some fun with them. Like, for example, Battle City. You even get Tetris 1 and Tetris 2. What many people might not know is that in Japan, the version of Tetris that they got was completely different from the version that we got in North America, and it was made by Bulletproof Software, or BPS for short. Might as well have a little bit of a look into this, and this is what I'm talking about though. If you are someone who's interested in NES games that, you know, were never actually NES games, that were stuck in Japan, that were never seen in the West, this is a cool multi-cart for you to grab, especially if I had gotten this back in the day. It's not like it's just the same game repeated a million times. It actually does have quite a bit of interesting stuff, as well as some good music too. Now, the weird thing about this one is that I think the up button, no, it's the down button, instantly drops the pieces. So the controls are a little bit different than what you might expect from your typical Tetris. And also, I think if you're holding left or right, you can't press the A button to flip the piece, so you have to let go of the movement of the directional in order to flip the piece, and it can cause problems. So yeah, I'm not up to date with my Japanese version of Tetris, but there you go! And you even have lives and everything. It's really interesting. If you've never played the Bulletproof Software version of NES Tetris, I highly recommend checking it out. Not because it's better than the NES one, but because it's very different. And, you know, it's just kind of cool to check it out. But now every time you want to switch games, I have to get up and press the reset button here, which thankfully does not make us watch the intro where the, you know, word super rises up again. It takes us right back to the page where we left off, actually. And Tetris 2 is actually the Tengen version of Tetris, which was only on sale in the West for like 4 weeks before Nintendo yanked it and put out their own version. And the really cool thing about this version of Tetris is that you can actually play competitive two-player, which is really neat. Now, I don't have two controllers plugged in right now, so it's kind of a one-sided battle if I'm, you know, being honest here. But considering that if you just wanted to buy this game alone, it's like a $50 game. If you're not concerned with owning the, I mean, technically official, unofficial thing, considering it's not even a licensed NES game, this is an option for you if you ever see the Super 190-in-1. And let us see, how come that time when I reset it took me back to here? Okay, obviously, it's an unlicensed multi-cart. There is no consistency, no quality control, regardless of if there's a sticker on the back that says so or not. But that's just what you kind of expect. And honestly, again, as long as you're not paying like $190 for 190-in-1, which don't be surprised if at some time in history someone has actually tried to do that. I've you know, seen a 110-in-1 cart before where someone's trying to charge $110 for it. It's very silly, but it is what it is. And the new human is known as The Adventures of Dino Ricky in North America. It's overall not a great game, yet multi-carts seem to love it for some reason. But again, you just get all sorts of things that were never released, like Circus Charlie and such. And the selection's not bad. It's a lot of, again, older NES titles, like Bomberman and Tennis. You're going to see Balloon Fight and Excite Bike and such, like the black box NES titles. But if you don't own them already, it's, you know, there's nothing, you know, wrong at all. But I think just grabbing this card if you're not worried about owning the official games. There's even a Moai-kun on here. which is actually a very cool Konami game, which is funny because normally on the screen, on the title screen, there's supposed to be a Konami logo, but it's been edited out. Same like you might have noticed in the Tengen Tetris game, the title Tetris was edited out because these multi-carts, I mean, they're doing something obviously very sketchy, but they don't want you to know. It's super sketchy. And what Moai-kun is it's like a platformer puzzle game where you collect all his friends here. I just messed it up. Actually, you can kind of save it, where you have to collect all of his friends and make it to the level-ending door. And there, I actually saved it. As if I'd gotten any lower, you can only jump one block high. I'm definitely going to talk about this game in more depth someday because it's super cool. But I was actually introduced to it thanks to this multi-cart. I had never heard about it because, again, only released in Japan. And it's just a really fun game that I played all the way through on this multi-cart before I ever got my hands on the official thing. So don't think that just because it's a multi-cart, you can't have fun with it. I was very happy to be introduced by this game. And there's not fall damage, but you do get stunned, so you kind of got to be careful. You can go do that guy. This is kind of like a POW block sort of thing. And the point is, again, collect all the friends, go to the door. I think there's like 50 levels. It's really fun. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this even in this video later on, but I think I definitely have to do a more in-depth video of this someday because it's a great game. With that said, though, let us come back to here. And again, Flipple, a whole bunch of games that were just never released in North America. You get Pac-Man 2, which isn't what maybe you would think like, Miss Pac-Man or something like that, but it's actually just Pac-Man, but they've kind of cranked up the speed for some reason. Pac-Man is just like so fast, no one's ever going to be catching him today. And that's neat too. Before like a time when ROM hacks were like a thing that everybody and their grandma knew about, sometimes you would pop in a multi-cart and you would find like a level hack of a game or something like this that just changes the speed, changes the attributes of items, and that's neat too. So as long as you don't, pick up 191 and expect literally 190 different games, you can have a lot of fun with it. But I can imagine back in the day, people probably did expect to get what was advertised on the box, and that was your first mistake right there. It shows like Mario Sunshine in the picture on the front. It's like, hey, this Famicom cart doesn't have Mario Sunshine on it. So yeah, you're going to be disappointed in that case for sure. But if you don't have high expectations and you just want to have some fun, you can definitely have some fun. There's even Devil World on here, and what some people may or may not know is that Devil World was actually the first console game worked on by Miyamoto and Tezuka, who would of course go on to create Super Mario Bros. As their next console game, but a much lesser known creation of theirs is Devil World, only released in Japan and Europe for some reason. No release over here in North America for whatever reason. Actually, I mean, not necessarily whatever reason. They wanted to stay away from the whole, religious themes, I guess, which is really strange. Why would Nintendo even create a game themed around devil and have crosses and stuff in it then? Many people may know the devil from this game as, I believe, an assist trophy in the Smash Brothers games, but it plays kind of like Pac-Man. You go around getting crosses, getting all these dots. Well, the devil can just dances around at the top of the screen, and his minions at the bottom move this frame around. I'm not moving the frame, so what you have to do is you kind of just have to make sure that you stay within the frame, don't get mushed against any walls, and collect as many of the dots as you can. But you can only pick up the dots when you have the cross. So if you lose the cross, there's really nothing you can do, but you gotta go back and get it again. And when you have the cross, you can even kind of shoot. It's a strange game. Not one I've spent too much time with because, again, I didn't grow up with it, and it's not even one that you can get for your North American NES. Of course, if you have like the top loader, you can play pretty much anything you want, even European games on your, TV in North America. But again, if you found this multi-cart and you were in North America, it's like the best of all worlds. You can play some games that you never had access to before and just have an overall pretty dandy time. But yeah, there's not much to this game. It's definitely, why Miyamoto's more renowned for Super Mario Brothers and not, gracing the world with Devil World. The world was never the same after people played this game. It's definitely not just like Pac-Man, which I believe Tezuka claims that, he wasn't inspired by Pac-Man when he created it, but literally when you played it, it's just like Pac-Man X Bubble Bobble. Tell me I'm wrong. All right, the next game. King Kong, and this is another example. Like, not only are they editing the title screen, but they're even editing the names in the list. It's not Donkey Kong, it's King Kong, guys. And of course, you can't have a multi-cart without some Mario on it. And thankfully, it's not like some of the other Mario multi-carts where they call them like Mary or something like that, like Super Mary Bros. It's actually, you know, they'll change the Donkey Kong name, but Super Mario, totally fine. No one's going to be complaining about that copyright infringement. So you get the original Super Mario Brothers, you get the Mario Brothers arcade game, and then you get Fancy Bros. And when we play Fancy Bros, it is actually just a glitched out version, and I don't know why it says it 2, considering it's Mario 1, and it doesn't even have the Mario 2 graphics like we've seen other multi-carts have when they have Mario 1 on them for some reason. But it's glitched so that you actually kind of get a view of what's in front of you, yet behind you. It's really disorienting. So what about this is so fancy? I'm not entirely sure. It's just really bizarre all around. Otherwise, though, it's just your typical Super Mario, and it's like, you would think, oh yeah, there's a question mark above me, but what this is actually just showing is the question mark block and such that's coming up here. And I think that's, yeah, like that's still there. Basically, it's just garbled graphics for whatever reason. It doesn't change the game at all. You would think that there's like a brick block here now, and no, there's not. It's just, yeah, someone thought that this was a thing. I don't know if someone made like a programming error or something like that, and they're like, oh yeah, that's great, we'll include that as one of our 190 games. No one will ever notice that is just a really broken version of the original Mario Bros. I don't know. I have no idea what to make of this, but next time you go to a party and someone's like, why aren't you dressed up fancy? You can be like, I got Fancy Mario Bros. Right here. Come at me, bro. Next game. What else can we talk about here? Just all sorts of odd things. And we have one more page of like real games. Although nothing I think we're going to touch too much on. Again, Superman is just Adventures of Dino Ricky, but I think each one's like hacked so that you get more lives or you have more firepower. Just all sorts of weird things. I don't think there's too much we want to talk about on this screen. No, so we are going to go back all the way to here and we're going to enter page B, 101 to 190. And what this is it takes the games that were on the first, the first page, 1 to 100, and you get the super ones here, which, again, these are kind of ROM hacks, so they'll change up the enemies, they'll change up something about the game. It's not actually Bomberman 2, it's just Bomberman 1, but there's going to be something weird about it. Like, let's have a look. See if we can figure out just how they hacked Bomberman here. It's possible, like, maybe the bombs have full firepower right from the beginning. Yeah, so see, like, so it's not actually a different game. I was wondering if maybe you could, like, have invincibility. Hey, we found the door anyway. So that's what it means. If it's super something, it means that it's a ROM hack. But if it's crazy, what that means is before you are taken into the game, you will actually be given the option of adding some little cheats to the game. And so play number is the number of lives. So we can go into Arkanoid here, having as many lives as we want. Let's give us, ourselves 20 lives, why not? And page number is what level you want to start at. So just for the heck of it, let's like start at level 10. So we're going into Arkanoid here, which again is, a pretty cool game to have on a multi-cart all around. And round A, we've entered the hexadecimal zone for some reason. I don't think that when you play Arkanoid on NES, it actually numbers its levels with hexadecimal. Wow, this was a great level to choose. One where I'm not going to be able to hit really any blocks at all. But as you can see on the right side of the screen there, we have a whole bunch of lives, and yeah, it did exactly as advertised. It took us to a level early on that we would not normally have access to. And I think that's really neat. So what you're probably noticing though is that on page B, games 101 to 190, they are not unique games. They take the games that we've already seen on the list and just kind of add some cheats to them. So it's kind of a lie in that there's like 190 games on this cart, but still, from the selection that you saw there actually is a fair number. And again, if into Japanese exclusives, this is definitely a cart that I think is worth owning. Plus, I think it's actually kind of neat to be able to add cheats to games right out of the box without having to get your Game Genie out and all that stuff. What else can we look through on this list? I'm just going to go through all the different ones here so you can see. I'm not going to play like all of them. 1942 on the NES is not very good, even if you add cheats to it, which is funny considering how amazing 1943 is. I love 1943 on the NES. And yeah, so pretty much any of these games, there's sometimes when they don't let you choose the level and you can only choose the lives. Like I think that Spelunker's one of them, where, Spelunker, but there's no cheat to make him not die from taking like literally one step off of a cliff. And again, when I said that I played Moai-kun on this flashcart, there is, I believe, passwords in that game that you can use to jump to a certain world, but what I actually did was when I stopped playing, I would just remember what level I was at, and I would start right from that level, which was really neat. And, the lives aren't really a thing that matters, so, just choose which level you want to go to, right to level 13, and it's just all around a really fun game, and you can kind of see what the puzzle is here. You don't want them all to fall. None of them fell that time. I love Moai-kun. It's just so good. There are actually a lot of good Konami games that did not come to North America for whatever reason. Because, of course, Konami also had to get the other label, Ultra, because Nintendo was only letting companies release like 5 games a year to prevent the, the flow of shovelware, companies just bringing all the most garbage games to North America, because the Famicom was pretty overloaded with games. But yeah, because of that, we still did not get some really good Konami games, so we'll definitely be talking about those at some point too. Let's see what else we got on another page here. Like, we got Pac-Man again, we got Mario Bro, and this is another one where, Mario Brothers, usually there's no way to continue from where you left off. So if you get like way up there in the game and you gotta go for a coffee break or something like that, we can play Mr. Mary and start right from page 23. Did that guy just get hit the second that they touched the thing? This is, I don't know. Yeah, actually, this is not working correctly. Wow, that's weird. And yeah, you can get really bizarre things like this to happen too. They're all just having a really fun time up there. Touching the top of this platform has gotten me stuck in an infinite jumping loop and I cannot move. So that is level 23 of Mario Bros. For all of those who stopped playing after level 5. There's also the Goonies on this card, which is really funny that there's the Goonies 2 in North American NES, but the first Goonies game was never actually brought to North America, only released in Japan. So I've always thought that's really funny because there's not even like a Goonies 2 movie, so it's really strange that the NES game is called Goonies 2, since there's not even a Goonies 1 NES game. It's just all kinds of weird. We can play Donkey Kong, add some cheats to that. Let's see, what level do we want to start in Donkey Kong? Well, technically, in the NES version of Donkey Kong, there's actually only 3 levels. The Pie Factory is completely removed, so maybe if we start from level 4, we'll get to see the secret Pie Factory level that Miyamoto kept all to himself and did not give any of us for Christmas. This is the content that I've been wanting from this multi-cart. Just bizarre shenanigans like this. So for some reason, coming to this level, it's like a weird inverted original final level. I don't know, it's weird. Like Donkey Kong just like a snowman up there. And we can still get all the items. Let's see what happens if we beat this. I wonder if anything interesting or cool will happen. Overall, though, how can you go wrong with the original Donkey Kong Country, not Donkey Kong Country arcade game? That would be cool. Of course, technically, I guess that's supposed to be Cranky Kong at the top there. I don't think that's, like, really canon. I think that's, like, Donkey Kong Country canon. But I don't think that Nintendo has ever, like, confirmed that that's how they feel about it, too. But there he goes! He looked proper for a second there. Then he went back to being a snowman. And, Mario and Pauline, with their new color palettes, buy the DLC now for $10.95 and add it to all your games. And they're back to normal again. So that's just the kind of bizarre thing that you can expect from multi-carts like this. So if, the game selection didn't get you in the first place, these cheats and just all sorts of other oddities are also a fun reason to add these things. Because I'm sure that, on an emulator or something like that, there's probably a cheat code that you could add and get kind of the same results, but who wants to spend time entering cheat codes when you could just spend all your time doing the thing? So, and let's see, I guess I'll just wait till we see where we go to reset. Hey! Actually, like, no, you're supposed to skip the Pie Factory. Mario, or Donkey Kong on NES is so weird. When you're missing that Pie Factory level, the game just seems so short. And again, you can play Devil World with all sorts of cheats and things. And I don't think there's anything on this page we want to look at. Of course, the music that's playing right now, it's not like it's original for the multi-cart or anything like that. It's usually ripped from Famicom games that never came over to North America, so you think it's original, but it's actually not. You got Super Gradius, you can add, cheats to that. All sorts of Superman, again, telling you that they really love their Adventures of Dyna and Ricky for some reason. And you get crazy all this. And I like how it's Crazy Bomberman 3, and then it's Super Bomberman 3, so... And we already played some Bomberman, though. And then you get Donkey Kong 3, can even... adding cheats to Donkey Kong 3 make it more fun. Personally, I think that the original Donkey Kong games are interesting because, in my personal opinion, they get worse as they go on, where Donkey Kong 1 is definitely the best one. Donkey Kong Jr. is still very fun, but Donkey Kong 3, like, how does this have anything to do with the first Donkey Kong games? I guess it's kind of, a Zelda Adventure of Link kind of scenario where the sequel has nothing to do. Well, not nothing to do necessarily, but it's a very different game from the first one. That's just such a common thing to happen back in the day. It's kind of like how, you know, stickers start today. Except that was intentional sabotage rather than just being a quirky thing that would happen back in the day. So with that said, I think we're pretty much done having a look at this multi-cart. It's weird and yet so cool, and I hope that, you know, if you yourself are not too acquainted with these oddities, that you have learned something new and that you enjoyed finding out about it. Now, if you ever get the chance to pick up a multi-cart like this for not too much, you consider it, because I don't think that they are, you know, as bad as people think. So I hope that you enjoyed having a look at that. Yeah, I hope you'll join me next time for something different. So thanks for watching, and see you later. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to check out my content. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it helps my channel grow. And I also have a Patreon page where everything that I receive goes towards making the quality of my work even better. So thanks again, and hope to see you next time.